Good morning, dear aspirants. We are again back in the platform of Biology Nagari with an NCERT explanation of Para 19.4. In previous lecture, we have already completed till Para 19.3. Now it's turn for paragraph 19.4.
हाँ सर लिखें आप लिखें
Right. It's turn for para 19.4. Basically, the para 19.4 beta is dealing with the concentration of urine. You can see on the NCERT interface that basically the heading is concentration of urine, or we can also say the concentration of filtrate. Okay. Now see, in the characteristics of mammal has the capability to concentrate the urine because the motto is to conserve water. That problem is not with an aquatic features. Okay. Now, in the case of human being can concentrate their urine till 4 times. See how? The normal urine output is basically 1.5 liter approximate value. Okay. And the minimum urine output for a human being to eliminate 25 to 30 gram of urea is 400 ml. You can see the value beta. It is the difference approximately 4 times. Okay. Now see, human being has to concentrate the urine to conserve water because human being cannot afford such amount of water for the elimination of urea which is being produced by the metabolic process in the body. Now see how. The organs which are going to participate in the concentration of urine are basically the Henle's loop, and vasa recta. We have already discussed about both of these in our previous lecture, in lecture 19.3, 19.2 and the introductory para. So these are the two basic parts which are going to contribute in the concentration of urine. Now see how. But because we have to start this topic, the concentration of urine, we have to remember some terminologies. Now see how. The body fluid present inside our body have the osmolarity approximately 300 milliosmol per liter. This is also the osmolarity of a human blood. So human blood has also the osmolarity of approximately 300 milliosmol per liter. But the main matter is to concentrate this osmolarity, and when we want to concentrate the urine approximately 4 times, we have to increase the osmolarity of the interstitial fluid. Now see beta, what I am going to make you understand. This was the glomerular filtration, this was the glomerulus, this was the PCT beta, this was the loop of Henle, this was the loop of Henle. Again this is the DCT, and finally opened into the collecting duct. This is the collecting duct. Okay, and we know that here is our urine being formed. But the main motto of this para is to concentrate this urine approximately 4 times. That might we can conserve the water in our body. Now see beta how. Here was the afferent arteriole. Here was beta the afferent arteriole. Here was the Malpighian body. Filtrate has finally came inside the capsular space by the first process called glomerular filtration, which was also known as ultrafiltration. We have already studied about ultrafiltration in paragraph 19.2. Okay, you can go through that lecture. Filtrate has finally reached the destination of capsular space. I am writing here F. This is filtrate. Now filtrate has arrived into the PCT. This is basically the PCT, the proximal convoluted tubule. Filtrate has again forwarded into the descending limb. This is beta the descending limb of loop of Henle. This is the ascending limb of loop of Henle. I am not getting in detail because I have already discussed about this in the previous lectures. Now filtrate has reached the descending limb of loop of Henle. After that entered into the ascending limb of loop of Henle and finally into the DCT. Now, when it has been entered into the collecting tubule, which is called collecting duct beta, here the formation of urine has been successfully completed. But the concentration, the osmolarity of the urine here is approximately 300 milliosmol per liter, and we have to concentrate this approximately 4 times. That might we can conserve the water. Okay. Now see what happened. In normal renal physiology beta, in normal condition, the collecting tubules, which is collecting duct, is impermeable for both water as well as urea, but when there is an influence of antidiuretic hormone, second case, when there is an influence of ADH, which is an antidiuretic hormone which was being released by hypothalamus, was being stored into the posterior pituitary, and finally has successfully permeability of collecting duct. What happens? See, when there will be an influence of ADH on the collecting tubule, it makes the collecting tubule permeable. Now see beta, in the condition of normal renal physiology, it was impermeable, that was not permitting the water as well as urea to pass. But in the case of ADH has given the permission to collecting tubule to give the permission to pass permeable for both urea, which is NH2CONH2, and water. Now see what happens. Okay, now see beta. In the case, there is a osmoreceptors present inside the ADH, basically the hypothalamus, and we know that when there will be a condition of dehydration in the body, it means we are talking about the case of dehydration. Beta, you are very much familiar with this word dehydration, the heavy loss of water. Yes, the body is suffering from the case of dehydration. What will happen? The osmoreceptors start getting shrink, and this shrinking of osmoreceptor will start activating the hypothalamus, which is the master endocrine gland, and this hypothalamus will give order to the posterior pituitary, which is also known as pars nervosa, and this pars nervosa will release antidiuretic hormone, and this antidiuretic hormone will act on the collecting tubule, on collecting duct, and make this collecting duct permeable for both urea and water. Now see why I have told you the comparison between the normal renal physiology and the renal physiology when the body is suffering from the dehydration. Now see how. I am making a diagram beta. We don't need the glomerular filtration or PCT or DCT, because in this concentration of urine we only know that there will be the participation of loop of Henle as well as collecting tubule. Loop of Henle and collecting tubule. So let's see. I am separating this board into two parts. Upper one is the part of cortex and lower one is the part of medulla. Now see what will happen. This is the loop of Henle beta. This is the descending loop which I am making thin, and this is the ascending loop which is little bit thicker than the ascending loop. Now see, here is the collecting tubule Here is the collecting tubule beta, basically the collecting duct, and here is the vasa recta. This is the vasa recta which runs parallel to the collecting duct. Only these three are the participants which are going to concentrate the urine for the conservation of water. Now see how. And the space, this is the space beta. These are the space in between these tubules are called interstitial space. Interstitial space, or also known as interstitium. Okay. Now we know that the body fluid has the osmolarity of 300 milliosmol approximately. So the osmolarity of interstitium should also be approx 300 milliosmol per liter, as well as the blood has also the same osmolarity. But when we want to concentrate this urine, we have to increase the osmolarity of the interstitium and make this interstitial fluid hypertonic. So for making this interstitial fluid hypertonic, we have to accumulate more and more solute over here. And what we have the solute? We have basically the sodium, the chloride. These are the solute we have in our hand to concentrate or increase the osmolarity of this interstitial fluid present inside the medullary interstitium. Now see beta, what will happen? When we add sodium and chloride from the thick segment into the interstitium, we have given sodium and chloride. We have given sodium as well as chloride inside this interstitium. Okay. Now what happened? We have finally increased the osmolarity. We have finally increased the osmolarity of interstitium. See what we have done. Firstly, we have given the sodium as well as chloride ion into the interstitium. After that, this interstitium will give this same sodium and chloride into the descending limb of vasa recta. See how. This is the vasa recta beta. Vasa recta. This is the loop of Henle beta. And this is the collecting duct. Now see what happens. Once this sodium and chloride is being given into the interstitium as well as the interstitial fluid, this will float and come under the descending loop. This is the descending loop, this is the ascending loop. So the sodium and chloride is being received by the descending loop of vasa recta. It means sodium and chloride has finally reached the descending limb of vasa recta, and these are moving into the ascending limb of vasa recta. It means sodium and chloride has finally reached into the ascending limb of vasa recta, and again these ascending limb of vasa recta are very much permeable for solute, so they will give this sodium as well as chloride again into the interstitium. It means the sodium and chloride, basically the solute, are maintained under this medullary region. These are not given into the cortex region, and the main motto is to maintain the osmolarity of the interstitium, because if we will not concentrate or maintain the osmolarity which was being increased by us by providing the accumulation of solute into the interstitium, we will be not successful for the concentrating of urine. Now see what happened. These sodium and chloride are not alone capable for increasing the interstitial fluid's osmolarity. So collecting tubule will now participate also to increase the interstitial fluid osmolarity by giving urea. By giving urea into the interstitium. Now see what happened. This urea which was given by the collecting tubule into the interstitium will be received by the thin segment. This is beta the thin segment. Okay, this is the thick segment. This urea was given into the thin segment of ascending limb of loop of Henle, and again this urea has been transported from the usual way into the collecting tubule. Urea has again reached its initial space, the collecting tubule, and after this will again given into the interstitium, and finally we have also maintained the interstitium. Okay, now see what happened. Finally, beta, when we have maintained the osmolarity of interstitium, now see what happens. I am drawing again a diagram, beta. But now I am not drawing the vasa recta because the role of vasa recta has been over. How? See. Now see, beta. Firstly, we have seen how the counter current exchange has been proceeded. Counter current exchange. Firstly, we have given the sodium as well as chloride ion into the interstitium. After that, from this interstitium, this solute has been received by the descending limb of vasa recta. Finally, this descending limb of vasa recta has given these solute into the ascending limb of vasa recta, and finally this ascending limb of vasa recta has extruded that into the interstitium again, and finally we have successfully maintained the osmolarity of the interstitium. And secondly, the urea given by the collecting tubule into the interstitium has been received by the thin segment of ascending limb of loop of Henle, and again this ascending limb of loop of Henle's thin segment has transferred it into the collecting tubule, or also known as collecting duct, has again given it out into the interstitium. And finally, we have also successful in maintaining the urea into the interstitium. So these two type of counter current exchange is being seen into the process of concentration of urine. We can also see this on the same interface of NCRT. In the last, I will show you these all line into the NCRT interface. Now see beta what happened on the diagram. Basically, this was the loop of Henle beta. This was the loop of Henle. This was the collecting tubule. Now see what happened. We have already maintained the osmolarity of this interstitium, and here is our urine present. Now see what happened. Here the osmolarity has been increased from 300 milliosmol to 1200 milliosmol per liter, which is approximately 4 times. And NCRT has also written that a human kidney has the ability to concentrate their urine approximately 4 times. You can see on the NCRT interface, paragraph 19.4. I will show you on the interface also, but see first here. Now the osmolarity has increased of the interstitium. Here the solution has become hypertonic. Here the solution is hypertonic, and the urine has the concentration of 300 as it is. But the main function is to increase the osmolarity of urine, not the interstitial fluid. Now see what happened. We know that on the influence of antidiuretic hormone, this collecting tubule has already become the permeable for both water and urea. It means this segment is already permeable for water as well as urea. Now see what happens. I am clearing this interstitial space. for the clearance of this concentration of urine. Now see beta what happened. Here the solution has already become hypertonic. Here the urine is present. Now in the influence of antidiuretic hormone, the water will start moving from the hypotonic solution, which is the urine, into the hypertonic medium, which is the interstitial fluid. It means water has started moving toward the interstitium, and finally in the simultaneous process this water is continuously moving into the interstitium, and finally after reaching this portion urine has also reached the osmolarity of 1200 milliosmol per liter, because here we have already finally reached the osmolarity of 1200 from the initial 300, which is approximately 4 times. And this was the main motto of concentrating the urine. I hope this was clear. Pause. अब देखिए बेटा, this is the NCERT interface of paragraph 19.4. I want to show you that we have already dealt from each and every line of this para. Let's see. Now see beta. Mammal have the ability to produce concentrated urine. The Henle's loop and vasa recta will play an important role. We have already seen that these two are playing a major role in the concentration of urine, making the conservation of water for the human beings. Plays a significant role. This flow of filtrate into the two limbs of loop of Henle. We have already seen on the diagram that there was two limbs of loop of Henle. This was the descending limb of loop of Henle. That was the ascending limb of loop of Henle. Now see the Henle's loop in opposite direction. These are in the opposite directions, and thus form a counter current. And we know that when there will be a movement of filtrate on the opposite direction, this is called the counter current. So there is a counter current between the descending limb and ascending limb. Form a counter current. The flow of blood through the two limbs of vasa recta. See beta. Also in a counter current pattern. This approximately between the Henle's loop and vasa recta. See beta. Basically what is telling, the proximity between the loop of Henle and vasa recta as well as the counter current in them help in maintaining and increase osmolarity. We have seen that the counter current mechanism in between the vasa recta and the loop of Henle are basically helping in increasing the osmolarity of interstitium. Now what happened toward the inner medullary interstitium? What were the inner medullary interstitium beta? The space between the loop of Henle and collecting tubule. This was the interstitium. Okay, now see. That is the medulla. This gradient is mainly caused by NaCl and urea. We have seen that there was a transport of NaCl and urea from the tubules into the interstitium. NaCl is transported by ascending limb of Henle, which is exchanged with the descending limb of vasa recta. NaCl is returned again into the interstitium. It was maintained interstitium by the ascending portion of vasa recta. Similarly, small amount of urea enters the thin segment of ascending limb of loop of Henle. It means it was saying that this was the collecting tubule beta. This was giving urea, and this urea was again received by the loop of Henle and again given into the collecting tubule. This line is telling this mechanism. Now see, small amount of urea enters the thin segment of ascending limb of loop of Henle, which is transported back to the interstitium. See, it is transported back into the interstitium by the collecting tubule. The above described transport of substance facilitated by the special arrangement of Henle's loop, which is called loop of Henle, and vasa recta. and this is called the counter current mechanism. Basically, we were talking about this counter current mechanism because this is the mechanism which is basically concentrating the urine by maintaining the osmolarity. This mechanism helps to maintain the concentration gradient. I hope this was clear. Now I am showing you the NCERT's diagram. Now see beta, this is a diagram of NCERT interface. Now see beta, in the medullary interstitium, which is the interstitial space present inside the medulla, presence of such interstitial gradient. Are you getting that we are talking about which type of gradient? We are talking about the gradient like NaCl and urea. These are the gradient present inside the interstitium. Helps in the easy passage of water from the collection. It means when we have increased the osmolarity of the interstitial space, this is the interstitial space, this was the collecting tubule, this increasing of osmolarity has finally successfully removed the water from the urine, or we can say conserved the water from the urine. Human kidney can produce urine nearly 4 times concentrated. It means in the first slide we have seen that normal urine output was approximately 1500 ml per day of a human being. It was concentrated till 400 milliliter per day, which was the minimum urine output to eliminate 25 to 30 gram of urea. This was the meaning of this 4 times. I hope we have already covered the paragraph 19.4. Now we will meet in our next lecture the paragraph 19.5. Thank you.